Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Zach on Sports. I am your host, Zach Gershman. Today, I have the honor of being here at the center with a very special guest. With me today is Mr. Scott O'Neil. Welcome.
It's good to be here, Zach.
Mr. O'Neil is the CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils. He oversees the Prudential Center down in Jersey. He's also the CEO at Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment and was recently named a co-managing partner at Elevate Sports Ventures. So today, Mr. O'Neil, I'm going to take a different approach to this interview compared to my other ones and discuss the business side of sports and the keys to being a successful leader.
Okay.
So you graduated from Villanova, and obviously you're very familiar with how passionate and the expectations of the Philadelphia sports fan. After you left the NBA league office, you came to become the CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously the culture was pretty different. How challenging was it for you to change the culture and the mindset of both the employees and the fan base while meeting their expectations?
Sure. Well, first thing we did when we came here was this is my 5th season with the Sixers. Whenever you get a chance to work for an organization with such an incredible, rich history and tradition, it's quite a humbling honor. So the first thing you usually do when you walk into a new organization is just listen and learn. And it's so great to come here and work. You know, you found Laura Price was a longtime friend. She's been here for 20 years. She's the chief operating officer, really talented executive. And the CFO, Andy Spicer, has been here 30 years, believe it or not. So when you have two people who are senior executives, very successful, know the market, are accomplished at what they do, and they're longtime friends, it makes the transition pretty easy. We definitely did want to change the culture to go from a basketball team to a world-class sports and entertainment enterprise. And to do that, we know we need to recruit really talented people. And then, you know, so that's my only identifiable skill set is the people that I get to work with are really talented. So that's a good one to have, you know. And the big secret is that then, you know, I kind of block and tackle, but at the end of the day, the really talented people I get to work with every day, they create the culture. I just, you know, I kind of provide a little vision and guide and hug here and there, but at the end of the day, it's really about hiring the smartest, most talented, character-driven people you can possibly find. And then you create an environment for them to want to choose to work in a wonderful place, which is what we have.
Well, speaking of block and tackling, I'm sure you know that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and I'm sure you saw how passionate, how devoted the fans were at the parade.
Yeah.
Winning in sports and success in sports is very cyclical. What can you do as the CEO, and what's your role as the CEO to expedite the winning process?
Sure. So I actually worked for the Eagles for 4 years. So I worked for Jeff Lurie when he bought the team. He bought it in I think March of '94, and then I went to go work for him in December of '94, and worked there for 4 years and had an incredible experience. Joe Banner was one of my bosses. I was no longer with the organization, but worked alongside Don Spolensky, who was the CFO at the time, who's now the president. And so I have a ton of friends there. Harry Roseman's a good friend, and Ari Reutemann, who's their chief marketing officer and revenue officer, good pal as well. I remain very close to that organization. So to see them win on that stage was better than amazing. And I you know, when you get to this point in, you know, in your career, my career, I'm more focused on the people than the actual winning. Whereas core fans, what they don't understand is that I love this. I love this team. I eat, drink, and sleep it. And some fans can't understand why I would root for the Devils and live in a city like Philadelphia. And like I work for the Devils, so of course I'm gonna love them. You know, I grew up in New York, and I just think I could root for the Giants over the Eagles. Not a chance. I work for the Eagles. That's like, it's in my blood. You go work for a team, and it's different. It's different than being a fan. And when you work in this business, you oftentimes root for your friends, which I know sounds really bizarre. I mean, you can't imagine a kid who grows up in New York, spends his career working in Philadelphia, rooting for the Red Sox. And I do that because Sam Kennedy's the president there, the CEO there. It's like one of my dear friends in the business. You know, in the same light, I root for the Phillies because I have 15 friends that work there. And so it's kind of a strange kind of thing that comes over you when you're working. But we're quite a ways away from doing what the Eagles did. In football, it's a little different. You can see teams turn. I think they were 9-7 or the year before.
They were 7-9.
7-9 the year before. And Howie made some obviously some brilliant moves, and Wentz was outstanding.
Yeah.
and bringing back Fletcher Cox was really smart. It's like he did a lot of really smart stuff, and things came together, and his team came together. And Nick Foles signing ended up to be the most brilliant move of all time. And staying with Peterson, despite all the media criticism, was amazing. But in football, you seem to be able to make those wild swings. In basketball, it's a little bit more of a gradual approach up. I mean, there are some instances in the NBA. If you remember when Chris Bosh joined Dwayne Wade and LeBron James in Miami, that was like one big swing where a team went up. There aren't many of those in history, and so most of us have to kind of trust the process, if you will, and go through it. And so that's what we're going through now. And so you see a team now, we're in the midst of a 10-game home streak, but this is a really young team, and that can change. It can change tonight and start and go the other way. And I hope it doesn't. But I think our key is to kind of stay disciplined. We did it at the trade deadline. We could have easily kind of gone off course, but we're getting a chance to work with Brian Colangelo and seeing him behind the scenes and seeing his disciplined approach to this process that's good. We're being smart, and we're not perfect. We made plenty of mistakes for sure. But if we always say, like, if we keep making the right decisions over and over and over and over again, given the information we have, when you look, if you look back in 10 years and say, okay, we've moved the ball really far ahead. We're here to win a championship and have that parade. We just got a long way to go to get there.
Since your tenure here, innovation and speed to market has been one of the hallmarks of your leadership. The Sixers were the first team to have a patch on their jerseys. You were the first North American team to own an esports team, and you guys even created and built an innovation lab right on the same grounds as the practice facility in Camden. Why is it so important for you and for the Sixers to expand beyond basketball, and how do you leverage those opportunities?
Well, I think, first of all, we're just getting started. I mean, you mentioned a few of them. I mean, we have several projects in the pipeline now that will add to this business. And I think if you look, when I got here 5 years ago, we were kind of the Sixers as a tenant in the Wells Fargo Center. And you look now, we bought an arena and a hockey team, and we built this incredible training complex and innovation lab, and we've done some fun deals, some of which you mentioned. It's just barely scratching the surface. I mean, we have, I think, the most talented executive team in the world. We have this ownership group of Josh Harris and David Blitzer, who are smart, young. They're considered the best deal makers in the world. Their partners have incredible access to capital. So for us, it's about, like, how do we prioritize how we want to grow this business? And, like, it's almost a shame given if you don't use your access that you have with these sports teams. I mean, think about tonight. We have a game playing the Miami Heat. It's a game before the All-Star break. And we'll have 20,000 people here. We'll sell out the game again. Every game this year has been a sellout, which has been really fun. And you look around, and it's a who's who of Philadelphia. I mean, sure, we'll have some stars there, and that stuff's all fun. But in terms of who's who of the business of Philadelphia. So, and they've become friends, right? We have access. We have access to things that business leaders want. They want to get close to players. They want experience for their kids. And we have to figure out, like, okay, with all these business leaders in here, is there any way we can do business with them? What can we do? That could be a real estate deal. It could be starting an agency. It could be partnering with them on a innovation project. It's kind of incumbent upon us to ask the questions and learn, and then figure out how to best leverage what we're doing. Like this business, I mean, it's big. I've been in the NBA for 25 years. It wasn't so big when I started, but this is the most dominant league in the world. Like, it's pretty incredible to think about that.
For the past couple years, the Philadelphia 76ers have been recognized by the Philadelphia Business Journal as one of the best places to work in Philadelphia. What do you attribute most to that success and honor?
Well, first of all, it's like the thing I'm most proud of. Well, there are two things I'm really proud of. The fact that this is an incredible place to work every day. Like, I walk in and I'm happy. And I hope that the folks I get to work with every day feel the same way. And I think they do, because the survey goes to everybody, and you kind of rank who you are and how you do. And I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of that, and kind of our effort to make the world better in terms of our service. And each of our employees gives 76 hours of service to the community. So those are the two things that I'm most proud of that we've actually been able to accomplish. There's no magic to it. It's like I always say, you have this book here, my famous book, Leadership and Self-Deception, which you were mentioning before that you read. And the heart of the book is really, like, consistent with how we see the world and how we see each other. And that's just treating people like people. It's not that complicated. It's like I always say, like I've been fired before. I was the president of Madison Square Garden and got fired. And it's really interesting because when people get fired, they never admit to ever being fired, which I never understand. Because like it's okay to be fired. And it's like, and I fired, let's call it 100 people. And and the question is when you're firing each of those people, like, are you treating them like people, like they say in the book? Are you like treating them with respect and dignity? Because they were smart and talented when you hired them. Something went wrong. Like maybe we didn't manage them the right way. Maybe we put them in a job that they weren't, their skills didn't match, or maybe like our cultural fit wasn't right, or maybe, it just wasn't the right time in their life, or maybe, who knows what happened. And so we have to talk to them and say like, okay, this is not going to be a fit. How can we help you get to a place that's going to be a fit? As opposed to like, the President Trump's former show, The Apprentice, like, you're fired. Like, this is not how it goes, not in our place. And I hope not for anybody. I think it's an environment where you feel like you're challenged every day, that you're going to give it your all, that you're going to learn something and grow, and that you're with people you love.
Now, as you mentioned, book Leadership and Self-Deception, great book. I highly recommend it. You require your employees to read it within the first 5 days of their start date and to answer 2 thoughtful questions. Why do you think it's had such a huge impact on your life, and why do you think it's important for your employees to read it?
Well, I was out of work. I'd started an internet company during the internet boom bust days, and and it busted. And I was out of work, and out of luck, and out of money. And I remember I was on a plane, and I was really struggling. The only thing that was actually going right in my life was I was playing basketball every day, which was fun. And my oldest daughter was really young, just started walking. I'd go on these long walks with her. And other than those 2 things, I was a bit of an adventure. And I couldn't really focus, and I wasn't spending the right time. I'm looking for a job. I was just kind of floating a bit. And a friend of mine handed me the book, and and I read it, and I just remember thinking, like, I got out of myself for a second. I could actually, like, see the role I played in the demise of Hoops TV, which was the company I was running. I could actually understand the role that I was going to have to play, like, in the world going forward for me to propel myself forward. And it really jump-started my life back to, let's go, find people you love, like, and respect to work with, which is what I did, and ended up working at the NBA shortly thereafter. So that's how I came into the book. And then in terms of why I strongly encourage people to read it, is that I think the whole core of treating people like people is as impactful at home with your family as it is in the workplace. I don't think there's any stronger message you can find.
Now, you've mentioned you've worked with a lot of people. You worked with the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, Don Smolenski, all those guys. And I'm sure a lot of your employees look up to you as a mentor. Who do you think influenced you most, or was your mentor that you still rely on for advice?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many people. I've been like one of those people that have been so blessed to work for such incredible people. Seth Berger, who I work with now, was at And One, the founder of And One, sneaker company. And he was my boss at Hoops TV when I started that internet company with him. He was an incredible mentor. Jeff Lurie, Joe Banner, incredible mentor, still talk to him today. Len Komorowski, who's the CEO of the Cavaliers, was at the Eagles, was my direct boss, big time exec. Bernie Mullen, who's now running Aspire, and before that was the CEO of the Hawks and Thrashers, was my first boss at the NBA, taught me a ton. Adam Silver is the current commissioner. I talk to him about once every couple weeks, and he's the most brilliant guy in the business, maybe ever. David Stern I still talk to about once a month, incredible boss. I mean, I could literally go on for forever almost. Yeah. John Spoelstra, his son is coaching the Heat today. John was one of my first bosses, was president of the Nets. And he was the first guy that I saw like take a real interest in young people. So I just had a really blessed career. I'm around talented people all the time. And the people I work with now, I probably learned more from Hugh Weber and Chris Heck, and Laura Price, and Katie O'Reilly, and Jake Reynolds than I've ever learned from anybody else in the past. So it's a fun environment.
Now the final 2 questions are a little lighthearted. So since you took over the Sixers, what has been your most memorable moment? And if you could not be the Sixers CEO and could not be the CEO of any of your other jobs, what do you think you would be?
Okay, I'll answer the second one first because it's the easiest. I would definitely be the 3rd string point guard on the Sixers because I know I couldn't beat out Ben. I'm just not big enough. And TJ with his triple-double 2 nights ago truly proved that I can't stay on the court with him either. But I think like a 3rd team point guard. You know, I'll sit on the end of the bench. I'm a great practice player. I'd be great in the locker room. I'm pretty funny. And what I lack in athleticism and talent, I make up for in confidence. So that's the first thing. And then the first question is, wait, was that the question about what else would I do? What was the other one?
Well, the other question was, what's been the most memorable moment?
Oh, the most memorable moment. Boy, there have been so many. I would say opening night, my first year, we open up against Miami Heat. It's LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Michael Carter-Williams goes crazy, gets a triple-double. The place, blew the roof off the place. And I thought, this is going to be okay.
I was at that game. I remember that.
Was that unbelievable?
It was incredible. It was LeBron's first year with the Heat, I believe. It was the year after he won the titles, one or the other.
Yeah, it was his first year with the Heat.
Yep.
And I just thought, Philadelphia crowds, just when the roof is about to blow off the building, it makes like a roar sound. It's different than it's like a guttural roar that I'll never forget that night.
And hopefully we'll hear it again tonight. Well, anyway, that wraps up our interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time. Best of luck. Continued success.
Thank you for giving us. Thank you. Thank you for giving us a unique insight into the world of sports. And for everyone else, I'll see you guys next time on Zach on Sports.